We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about the seeming rally on Bitcoin. As you will likely already know, over just the last several days, we have seen a major uptick on Bitcoin. We're currently trading at roughly $64,000 above a downtrending level of resistance that Bitcoin had been respecting for the last month or so. And today we're going to be asking the question whether or not Bitcoin is ready to rally back to all-time high. Is this corrective movement over? Or is this simply a bull trap? And a lot of you guys are about to get wrecked. We will be discussing all of that and more in today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. Before we get started, though, I want to let you guys know that there is a very special announcement I have coming this week. I'm very excited about this. You guys are going to be so excited about it. I'm so excited about this. I'm getting new glasses. I'm doing it, man. Everybody thinks my glasses are dirty. They're not. They're scratched. I have not had the time to go and get them. And I also did not realize just how bad they were. Like, I showed them to the optometrist, and they said, I've never seen glasses this bad. What did you do to them? I said, I washed them with soap. They said, you washed them with soap? I said, yeah, you're not supposed to do that. And they said, no, that's why they look like that. And so, yeah, my eyes are about to feel a lot better, and I'll probably end up looking a lot better, too. So, very excited about that. Want to let you guys know that. Let's read some chat, and then we're going to get started. Cynthia Dizon is in chat. Said, good morning, Jeb. Joe Bollier is in chat. You are awesome. Coin Operator. Ishmael Elizondo is in chat. Mike Lowry. Chase. Christina Orozco. Brenx Motorsports. Brenx Motorsports. Fury Inferno. Jeremy Gable. NFT Swizz, Mr. Hyde, Yahweh Forever. There you go. Woo, new glasses. Let's get it. One House Production said, yeehaw, Jeb is a boss. Love to your family. Thank you so much. And Alex Nivo is in chat as well. Let's jump on over to CoinMarketCap. Right now, Bitcoin is up to $64,000, up 0.21% over the last 24 hours, up 3.5% over the last 7 days. Solana is rallying as well. It is up to $154, 5.63% rally in the last 24 hours. 14.87% rally in the last 7 days. Very good stuff all around. Cardano is up 1% in the last 24 hours, 2.5% in the last 7 days. Avalanche up 12% in the last 7 days. In general, we are having a rally across the board, which is absolutely wonderful. The question now becomes whether or not Bitcoin has bottomed, such as we will be discussing today. When we began this corrective movement, back on, I believe it was Tuesday, March the 12th. It might have been Wednesday, March the 13th. Right back over here, we predicted that Bitcoin would very soon, I believe what I said was in the next 2 to 6 weeks, would drop. Bitcoin would drop roughly 20%. I think I said 15 to 25%. Bitcoin would, the next day after I said that, begin by dropping 18%. And in total, Bitcoin has dropped 23% about 6 weeks later. I'm not kidding. You can go back and watch the stream if you want. In that time, we made a few other predictions. We also made a prediction right back over here in about Thursday, the 19th of April, somewhere in here. I don't remember the exact day, but it was a couple of weeks ago in mid-April. We predicted that Bitcoin was going to go into a bull flag, and then it would break bearish down towards an uptrending level of support that is here colored in white. And when it broke down to that uptrending level of support, there would be a strong likelihood that the bottom is in, and we could potentially go as low as 47, but our actual price target was 55.5. Moving forward, we went through that exact bear flag, broke bearish out of it, and then we broke all the way down to $56,600. From there, we said that there is a possibility that Bitcoin breaks lower from here, but I also am more in the camp that we're going to see an inverse head and shoulders pattern form, and we're going to bounce and rally probably up towards about the 65 region, and then we may come back down to 60 and bounce from there. And so far, that's what's playing out as well. Why am I saying this? Am I trying to brag on myself? No. All I am doing is following a proven process. You see, in business, something that I've learned, and something that I am continuing to learn every day, is that you succeed by following a proven process. What is that proven process? That proven process that we've used to determine what Bitcoin is going to do next here on the channel for going on 7 years now. Now, we don't always get it right. In fact, there are plenty of times we get it wrong, but more often than not, we get it right. The process that we follow is a process called technical analysis, and I'm here to tell you that it works. It's worked for 150 years, and it works this year. It has worked since it was developed by the founder of the Wall Street Journal and the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which the S&P is based on. Not the S&P 500. That was developed in the later part of the last century. In the 1890s, the DJI was being developed. And the guy that founded it, Edward Dow, began what we now call technical analysis. And that's what we do here every day on the channel, is we look at the proven process of technical analysis by analyzing past performance to predict future results, which is the most concise definition of technical analysis I can give you. And we use that to predict what's going to happen with the market. But we also use other proven processes to use that technical analysis to generate revenue. That's called the financial sovereignty way. Let's talk a little bit first about what I think is going to happen next in the cryptocurrency market, and then let's talk a little bit about how we can best profit from that same cryptocurrency market. But before we go any farther, I want to let you know that today's stream is brought to you in part by NordVPN. Make sure to go to nordvpn.com/Jeb and sign up for a 2-year plan today. Get started protecting yourself while you browse online. They are the absolute most important one-stop shop place. They're the best place to sign up to get protection from hackers and thieves, because they reroute your IP address, they reroute your internet traffic so that you are not able to be seen by hackers and thieves online. So get started today. Let's read a little bit of chat and then we'll continue moving right along here. Raul said, Jeb, hi, what's your thoughts on AVAX? Avalanche has been rallying quite a bit in the last 7 days. It's up 12%. Avalanche is an interesting protocol because of the way it splits up its transactions. It sends some transactions in one direction and some transactions in another direction. It splits them onto different, almost side chains that allow them to go in. It's a bit like this. The way that I've always described Avalanche is like this. If you're trying to get through a city and you're trying to transport your family, you're going to go on the freeway in a minivan. If you're trying to go to the grocery store, you're going to go in your minivan maybe, but on a local road. If you're trying to get across the city as quickly as you possibly can, or get to another city, you're going to fly on an airplane. If you're trying to move, if you're trying to operate a logistics network, and you're trying to move duct tape from the distribution facility to the Home Depot, you're going to go on the interstate, and you're going to go buy an 18-wheeler. And if you're trying to move coal, you're probably going to put it on a train. If you're trying to move a buttload of sand, you're going to put it on a ferry, and you're going to send it down the canal that goes right down the middle of the city. Depending on the kind of thing, the kind of commodity is what I'm trying to say. The kind of commodity that you're trying to transfer, you're going to use a different mechanism to transfer it. That is appropriate for the basically for the value to volume ratio. So, for example, sand is not very valuable. I mean, you can have you can buy a ton of sand for like a couple $100. Now, if you're trying to transport duct tape, a ton of duct tape is going to cost $10,000 or $15,000. So you're more likely to put that on an 18-wheeler. You decide what route, what a medium of exchange, if you will, in the real world, you're going to use to move that cargo based on what makes the most sense. And so that's kind of what Avalanche does. It splits up the transaction so that NFT is going one route and smart contracts going another route. And it helps with the scalability of the network. One thing I like about Avalanche is that it does have a maximum supply, unlike some of its counterparts like Solana. One thing I don't like about Avalanche is that Avalanche is kind of dead last in this top 4 race to the contender of being in the number 2 spot. It's probably always going to be a layer 1 smart contract application sitting in the 2nd position in the cryptocurrency market. And for the foreseeable future, it's going to be Ethereum. Solana is the next biggest contender, but Solana's got some very critical problems with its inflation. So I'm not convinced that Solana is going to be the best avenue to get up to rank number 2. Avalanche is also still below Cardano. So not a pick that I'm the most excited about. I don't typically like picking number 4 in a race. I typically like picking number 1, 2, maybe 3, which is why our biggest layer 1 application holding is Ethereum. Our 2nd largest is Solana, and our 3rd largest is Cardano. I do have Avalanche, but it is, by very nature, the 4th largest holding that we hold. Nothing against it. I just like betting on winners. I'm not saying it's not a winner, but it's definitely not the one that's in the lead. All right, Petro, Cars and Cryptos in chat said, love Ontario, though. Florida is beautiful. Love Ontario, though. Yep. God bless you from London. Thank you very much. Doug said, I've signed up with NordVPN. Boom. That's good. Ashkiro Moxie said, did my question get deleted? I don't see another question, so you're more than welcome to ask it once again. Let's keep it moving here, guys. I want to talk about where Bitcoin's going to go next. So we've talked about what Bitcoin has done, but is this crash over? Has Bitcoin concluded its drop? And if so, what do the next few weeks look like? Well, as we talked about, Bitcoin has a very high possibility of building what is known as an inverse head and shoulders pattern. And an inverse head and shoulders pattern is a chart formation that indicates that the bottom of a market has come. If we look into the past, then we're going to be able to find a few examples of inverse head and shoulders patterns. There was not the best example of an inverse head and shoulders pattern, but there was one right here in 2019 moving into 2020. Bitcoin had a descending trading trend line right here that was being used as resistance, and that trend line represented what was known as the shoulder line. I'm sorry, the neckline of an inverse head and shoulders pattern. We also had another trend line right here that connected roughly the shoulders, and that gave us the inverse head and shoulders pattern formation, as you can see right here. The way that you do a price target with an inverse head and shoulders pattern, or otherwise known as an I, H, and S, is you draw from the neckline, which is right here if you flip it over, right? And you draw a head and shoulders pattern right here. This line right here is called the neckline because that's where the neck would be, right? You got a big old neck right here, and then that's the neckline. You would draw from the neckline to the top of the head, and then you take that price target and you extrapolate, just like this. This would give us a price target of about $9,000 on Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin did used to trade for $9,000. If you can believe it, it is real. And from there, Bitcoin ended up hitting that level, which is what an inverse head and shoulders pattern typically leads to. Not all the time. Obviously, no technical indication, no technical chart formation. None of that is ever going to be perfect, but that's generally what happens. Right now, we are building an inverse head and shoulders pattern once again, and in doing so, we've broken a critical downtrending level of resistance. This downtrending level of resistance had been in play ever since the beginning of April. As of late on Saturday, we broke above that downtrending level of resistance, and we are currently moving to the upside up towards around $64,000. That does indicate that Bitcoin is moving in a bullish direction. It's not just that, though. If we look over here on the Fear and Greed Index, you can see that that has been creeping up as well. In just the last couple of days, Fear and Greed jumped from 47 up to 58, indicating that we are starting to see a bit of bullish reversal. Now, the Fear and Greed obviously has a long way to go, and this can still very well just be a corrective movement against the primary trend, which would lead us potentially a lot lower. We could see that there would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern, for example. We could drop all the way back down here to the uptrending level of support. We could drop back down to our current bottom, which is at about $56,000, or we could even drop down to that eventual price target that is still possible of about 47K. Bitcoin could drop down to $47,000. It could happen. Will it happen? Hopefully not, but it certainly could. And so we don't know for sure that we're out of the woods yet, so I'm not calling an uptrend. What I am saying is that we're a lot closer to being in an uptrend than we were at any point in the last 3 weeks. And that gives us some marching orders, if you will. And we'll talk about those in a moment. But let's also look at some other technical indicators. If we look at Lux Algo on the 4-hourly chart, you can see that we've had a buy signal, which is phenomenal. The Lux Algo buy and sell signals are very rarely wrong. They are sometimes, because again, none of our indicators, none of our analysis incorporates us using a time machine. I don't own a time machine. Do you? I do know somebody that owns a time machine. I'm not even kidding. You think I'm joking. I know somebody that owns a DeLorean with a flux capacitor on it. This is a true fact. I ought to have him on the stream. His name's James. He also has a Tonka truck that he created from scratch. Very cool. Goes to our church. Anyway, I do know somebody with a time machine, although I have not been informed whether or not it actually works or not. The man did graduate CIA sniper school, so maybe he does actually have a functioning time machine. Nevertheless, I don't, and so I can't tell you for sure whether or not Bitcoin is going to moonshot with 100% certainty. What I can tell you is what I am being told by the indicators. I can follow the proven process, and I can use that to develop a sense of agency and understanding about where the market is going to go next. And so the buy signal on Lux Algo is very significant because the first buy signal that we have seen thus far, it's the first buy signal that we have seen thus far in the last month. The last time we saw a buy signal, it actually got invalidated. It actually was not accurate. The time before that, we saw a buy signal right here, and this was an absolutely wonderful buy signal and ended up leading us 13% to the upside. This buy signal has played out very well so far and has currently led Bitcoin over 10% to the upside. And note, we have hit the take profit. We hit the take profit and we've stopped. that means that we're probably going to go into a season of consolidation right now. Preston O'Neill said, this dude just said CIA sniper school and guy goes to my church. No, I'm serious. This is a real individual. He's also got a Batmobile. Guy's absolutely awesome. All right. Nevertheless, Bitcoin from here, now we've got to look at some other technical indicators. One of the things that concerns me is if we look down here on Crypto Jeb Oscillator, which was developed in partnership between ourselves and the Lux Algo team, it is showing that the bullish momentum is slowing down. You can see here, this line right here represents the bullish momentum, and it is coming to its ultimate conclusion. It is slowing down. The bullish momentum has almost stopped. Now, the bullish actual, that's bullish acceleration. The bullish momentum up here is still high. We're still rallying. We've still been moving to the upside, but the rapidity, the speed, the velocity, the acceleration at which Bitcoin has been moving to the upside has slowed down dramatically. In other words, we've started to trade sideways. And so we really need to see what happens from here. Are we going to go into this kind of bull flag pattern right here, which is very possible, and Bitcoin breaks bullish? Or is it more so that we're forming a rounding top formation? I am of the inclination that Bitcoin will probably go through some kind of small corrective movement relatively soon. But from there, Bitcoin will attempt to rally higher. Right now, it is very much a wait and see game, as we do have, for example, also some bearish divergences going on here on the hourly chart. We've got a confirmed sell signal on the hourly chart. We've got, again, some bearish divergences coming in here on the Crypto Jeb Oscillator from these three highs, 1, 2, 3. So there are signs that this rally could be coming to its conclusion. From here, Bitcoin is going to have to make some decisions. This is what we call a decision point on Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin going to move to the upside, or is it going to move to the downside? Time will tell. I think that in general, we are going to do one of two things. This is typically what I tell you. Bitcoin is going to do one of two things. And by the way, there's not just two options. There's normally like 15. So we are getting pretty narrow here. On the one hand, Bitcoin may drop back down towards about $55,000, and it could even drop down towards $47,000. I don't think that that's the most likely scenario right now. I think what is more likely is that Bitcoin will attempt a continued rally, and then it will either work, and Bitcoin will break up here to at least $67,000, and then it'll fall back down, and we'll build an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which would be absolutely phenomenal. Or from there, Bitcoin will be able to continue rallying. And I think, and here's the point, I think that the bottom is close for Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin is getting very close to its bottom, and I don't think it's going to take a very long time for it to bottom out at this point. I think in the next 30 days, we will be moving into a confirmed uptrend, which, for me anyway, is very exciting. Dude just said CIA sniper school. Yeah, no, he's a multimillionaire. He founded a defense contracting company. He used to work with our school. My parents know him very well. Won't say too much about who he is and his actual name, but very interesting individual. Very interesting individual. Dude's basically Bruce Wayne. It's crazy. I mean, he's got a Batmobile. He also used to have a little, like a tank that he developed for the military. It's like an armored personnel carrier kind of thing. I know some interesting people. I've got friends in high places and some friends in some strange places. All right. Let's read a little bit of chat, and then we will continue moving right along here. Also, another announcement. I am working right now, today, on something very exciting. I'm going to announce it later on this week, but I'm working on something very, very exciting behind the scenes. I hope to have it launched this week. It has something to do with interacting with you guys. So stay tuned for that. Very excited for this announcement. I'm looking at it right now. Not going to tell you what it is yet. You're going to have to continue watching. You have to stay tuned in, see what I'm talking about. But I think you're going to like it. All right, guys, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you've not already. When you hit the like button, it helps to support the channel. So thank you so very much for doing that. Ashkiro Moxie said, hey, Jeb, can you talk about where ADA is heading in the next few months? Yes, absolutely. Petro Cars and Crypto said that's a real Florida man. This guy is a real Florida man. He is definitely a real Florida man. All right. Let's talk about ADA. So Cardano, my issue with Cardano, I'm going to come out guns a-blazing. I love you, ADA. We've got to get some more development going on the layer 2. We've got to get more development going on the layer 2. If we go to DeFi Llama, DeFiLlama.com, don't go defying your llama. We go to DeFi Llama and look up Cardano. it doesn't look up by the ticker. It looks up by the actual sign. If we look up Cardano, what we're going to find is that its TVL is nowhere near what it needs to be. And it is kind of disappointing. I want to see more projects built out on Cardano, but at the moment, it's just not happening. It's just not been adopted in a big way by layer 2 applications. There are applications down here, like MinSwap and Indigo and Liquid and A Starter and LenFi and DJZ stablecoin, of course, Muesli Swap, Vi Finance, Wing Rider, Sunday Swap. But we're not getting the kind of adoption on here that we need. In fact, if anything, we've lost TVL. We had $500 million in TVL back in March, about 2 months ago. That was very exciting. And then it just started going down. Now, of course, the rest of the cryptocurrency market had a decline in TVL as well around this corrective movement, but not that severe, as you can see. Even on Solana, for example. You take a look at Solana. And yes, we're playing the comparison game here. Take a look on Solana. It was at 5 billion, an order of magnitude higher than Cardano. Cardano is about is down about 37 to 40% from where it was. Solana is down 20% from where it was in March. So I am very discouraged by the performance on Cardano. I think that it's going to be okay. I think it's going to rally. I think it's going to do well. But it does also make sense that we've not seen the kind of movement on it that we want. Right. DeFi Llama does not include on-chain stacked ADA. Isn't that a false image of the TVL? The thing is, that ADA that's staked, we're looking at layer 2 protocols here. And as far as I'm aware, and I could be wrong, but as far as I'm aware, DeFi Llama is seeing all of the layer 2, all of the TVL that's going on in the layer 2 applications themselves. Yes, there's liquid staking, and it's not showing because it's not locked, right? It's liquid staking, which is great, and I love the liquid staking. The issue is that that's not all going into the actual layer 2s. Now I'll look into it more, but my concern is that what most people are seeing, and this is what we've got to look at this from, guys. Here's the unfortunate thing about media. It's not about the truth, which it should be, but it's not. It's about the perception of the truth. And the narrative is, and unfortunately that's kind of makes sense, the narrative is that the TVL on Cardano is nowhere near what it ought to be. That's what people are hearing, that's what people are saying, that's what people are believing, because that's what's being reported. So we've got some to say what Crispy Crypto Supreme said, we've got some Llama Mama ADA drama. Exactly. So where is Cardano going to go in the next few months? I think Cardano will rally with the rest of the altcoins, because what I believe is going to happen is that Bitcoin and its contemporaries are going to go through a rally starting in sometime in the next 30 to 60 days. When it does that, it's going to catch up. The altcoins are going to get caught up in that, and they're going to rally as well. That being said, Cardano is still running into the same problem, whether the altcoin market is in an uptrend or not. So while I think Cardano is going to rally quite a bit in the next few months, I am not as confident in it as I am in something like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and a few others. And the reason is because we've got to choose one thing if we want to succeed with money. What is that one thing? What is this one thing that we can succeed with? It is financial sovereignty. We must choose to follow the laws of money. We must choose to invest in assets that we reasonably expect will appreciate in value over time. If we've got reason to doubt whether or not it's going to be worth more in 5 years than it is now, then why would we put our money there? So I'm not investing in Cardano right now. I own Cardano. For that matter, I'm not investing in much of cryptocurrency at all right now because so much of our net worth is in crypto. I'm putting money in other places at the moment. And that's not, again, that's not to say that we don't have crypto. We got a lot of it. Most of our net worth is in crypto. Well, not most, but a large portion of it, put it that way, a plurality of it. But I want to invest in things that I do reasonably and genuinely reasonably believe will appreciate in value over time. And that means that I've got to buy things that I have confidence in that they're going to be able to outperform something else, or that the risk-to-reward ratio looks good. I honestly think something like Ethereum's risk-to-reward ratio looks a lot better than Cardano's, even more than Solana's, because Ethereum is being mass adopted right now in a way that Solana and Cardano both are not being. Now, Solana's obviously being adopted 10 times more than Cardano right now, but we have to understand that the way that we succeed with money is we've got to look at the risk profile and we've got to look at the reward profile. We can't just look at one. We can't just say, oh, well, this coin could 10x, this coin could 2x. That is not of wisdom. What wisdom is saying this coin could 10x. There's a 70% chance it could go to 0, or it could just do nothing. This coin could 3x, but it's like a 90% likelihood it's going to happen. 95% likelihood it's going to happen. That's where you start to say, okay, I'm going to go with the less risky, more certain option because let's put it this way. I dislike losing $1 more than I like earning $1. Does that make sense? I hope that clicks. I prefer to not lose $1 than to make $1. And the reason is because I don't like going backwards. I remember in 3rd grade, I was a scrawny little kid. I couldn't run for crap. I was fast in the sprint, but I did not have endurance. And so I thought to myself, we were doing this thing called the Eagle Run. Again, it was 3rd grade, little 3rd grade Jeb running around. I remember thinking to myself, I'm going to pass people, but I will never let somebody pass me. That was the only way that I could keep up. I was like, and I actually ended up doing really well because I had this mentality in my mind. It's not about passing people. It's about not getting passed. It's not about getting further ahead. It's about not falling behind. And so I said to myself, I will not let somebody pass me. And I didn't say it out loud because then the other kids would start like trying to sprint and race me and whatnot. But if I saw somebody coming up, I'd speed up a little bit. Every once in a while, I'd get ahead of somebody. And before I knew it, I was doing really well. And I was up towards the front because I said, I'm not going to let myself fall behind. I'm not even really worried about passing people. I don't care if I stay where I am, but I think I'm not letting somebody pass me. And that's my mentality with money as well. I've lost a lot of money in my life. A lot of it from being stupid with it. I don't like losing money. I'm very good at making money. I don't need to worry about that part. My issue with wealth building has always been being dumb with it. And I'm not talking about buying flashy things. I'm talking about not being in control of it, which is why financial sovereignty has become my life's teaching. All right. God bless everyone. What a great name. Donate $5. Said, do you think Bitcoin is like the tulips in the 1700s? No, I don't. And that's because tulips are not scarce. That is the absolute nonsense of that argument. Tulip mania. Bitcoin is tulip mania. No, it's not. I can grow tulips in my back flipping yard. You can't grow Bitcoin. Bitcoin don't grow on trees. You ever hear that song? No, you never heard that one. By Green Day, by Orange Day, Bitcoin Day. Tulips grow on the ground. Bitcoin is scarce. Tulips can be destroyed. Bitcoin cannot. Tulips, again, I mean, that's really the best. That's really the, that's about the most I can say on it. Tulips are not scarce. Bitcoin is. Tulips are destructible. Bitcoin is not. Bitcoin is the first thermodynamically sound, superconducting form of digital value in the history of mankind. Superconducting because you can send it across the internet virtually for free. You send $100 million for $5. Send it at low transaction time, low volume time. And it's thermodynamically sound because it doesn't lose electricity. There's no such thing as anything being thermodynamically sound in the universe. It's this kind of thought experiment. But the way you can think about it is like this. Something that's thermodynamically sound or approaching the state of being thermodynamically sound is like a freezer. You put cold stuff in a freezer, and the freezer, its job is to not let the energy, or in this case, the lack of energy, escape from the freezer. Now, actually, what the freezer is it's a low energy state, and the air around it is a high energy because heat comes from energy. I was going to be an astrophysicist. So the air molecules that are floating all around you are vibrating at a certain speed, and they're vibrating at that speed because of the temperature in the room. If it's 72 degrees, they're vibrating at a certain frequency because of the temperature in the room, and that's the energy inside of them. The freezer has slowed down the air molecules in the water as well, the water molecules as well, so they are cold. Low energy. A freezer is thermodynamically sound. It does not let very much, let some, but it does not let very much heat, in this case energy, into the equation. An oven is the exact opposite. It does not let the heat out of the oven. It keeps the heat in the oven. It is a thermodynamically sound thing. It is a thermodynamically sound box that keeps energy either in or out. A freezer keeps energy out. An oven keeps energy in. Does that make sense? It is designed to change the energy state inside of the oven or the freezer. But all of those mechanisms, whether it be your house that is thermodynamically sound, is 72 degrees in your house, it's 80 million degrees outside, because I live in Florida, it's thermodynamically sound. It's not a perfect system. In the freezer, heat will be able to make its way through the freezer door, through the ice, into the freezer. And it will heat up the stuff in there, which is why the freezer has to be constantly running, especially if you open it, for example. That obviously it loses that attribute in that instance. An oven, if you stand near an oven, if you leave the oven on all day because you're cooking for Thanksgiving dinner, it's going to get hot in your house because some of the energy is going to get out of the oven. It's not a true thermodynamically sound system. Energy can leak in and out. Bitcoin is thermodynamically sound in the sense, and this is something I discovered with the Michael Saylor on our interview. We were talking about this and discussing it from a physics standpoint. Bitcoin is the first example of anything in the history of mankind storing monetary value in a thermodynamically sound state. Energy does not leak out of Bitcoin. What do I mean by that? Energy leaks out of the United States dollar through inflation. Where does it leak to? The people that are printing the money. You've got $100. You come back in 30 years, it's worth 50. What the heck happened? Where'd my money go? It leaked out. You shoved it under your mattress and went, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? You say it like that. You're like, what happened? It's not a thermodynamically sound system. Your greenback leaks value. That's why you shouldn't hold much of it. You should hold some of it. If you're going to hold it, keep it in a high-yield savings account so it at least keeps up with inflation. Don't hold much cash where it doesn't grow in some degree. So here's the point. The dollar leaks value. The ruble leaks value, a lot of it. The euro leaks value. The yuan leaks value. Gold inflates at 2% a year. It leaks value. Bitcoin does not. Value leaks into it because people are not constantly adding new Bitcoin to the market, although they are through mining, but that's slowing down and will eventually come to a stop. It's almost negligible at this point. Most Bitcoin that has ever been put into circulation has already been put into circulation. Value leaks into Bitcoin because people are at all times, unfortunately, losing their Bitcoin at this point with the halving probably faster than it's being mined. Which means that Bitcoin at some point, it has probably already occurred because of the halving that just occurred. Bitcoin at some point, and again, we don't know for sure, but I believe it'll probably be right around now, has reached a state of thermodynamic soundness. It does not leak value anymore. In fact, value leaks into it because other people that have Bitcoin are losing it. That is why Bitcoin is so valuable. And that is the difference between Bitcoin and a tulip. Press O'Neill said, the past is so weird, people were losing their ish for tulips, sugar, wheat, salt, spices. Dang, it seemed easier to make money then. By the way, guys, would you like to know something else that is thermodynamically sound? None other than Uphols Vault. If you have not already signed up for Vault, you absolutely should. And the reason is that you don't want to be one of those people that is contributing to the deflation on Bitcoin, i.e. one of the people that loses their keys. Because unfortunately, that is something that happens to a lot of people. I don't wish that on you. I don't want you to lose your keys. As somebody who has had to reset a wallet from a seed phrases before, it's a scary experience. Now, luckily, it was one of my smaller wallets. It only had about $6,000-$7,000 on it. But it is a scary experience. I don't want that for you. Uphold has created something called assisted key replacement. And basically, the way this works is that you've got 3 keys that can unlock the vault. You at all times, and you need 2 to unlock the vault. You at all times have 2. Should you lose one of them, Uphold will replace that key, or not replace that key, but they will give you a stand-in key called the Uphold key, and you can use whichever key you still have and the Uphold key to unlock your wallet and reset the whole thing so you get back to this 3-key situation. Very, very exciting stuff. Lightning very rarely strikes twice in the same place. Losing one key, it can happen. Losing both keys on the same day when you store them in different ways, highly unlikely. So make sure that you sign up for Vault by going to the link in the description box down below and getting an Uphold account, and you'll be glad you did. You'll also get access to the markets in real time from a cold storage wallet. That is revolutionary. All right. Actually, Bitcoin benefits off of not using electricity, asked Michael Saylor. Absolutely he does. What he's saying is that for the first time in the history of the world, money has become something that cannot be taken from you. You know, one of the things that cannot be taken from us as humans is you cannot take our joy. When I have the joy of the Lord, which is my strength, says the prophet Nehemiah, then you cannot stop me. Because you cannot take that from me. You cannot take kindness from me. You cannot take love from me. You cannot take joy from me. You cannot take the fruit of the Spirit from me. You can kill me. You can beat me, you can batter me, you can whip me, you can abuse me, you can torture me, but you cannot take those things from me. Up until January 3rd, 2009, you could always take somebody's money. Nowadays, with the invention of Bitcoin, you can actually turn money kind of into that same thing because you can memorize your 12 or 24 words, seed phrases, and somebody can beat you, and they can batter you, and they can torture you, and they can do whatever they want to you. But if it's in your head, then all of a sudden, and this is what Michael Saylor says, and he's right, the argument has gone from let's beat them and steal their stuff to we've got to negotiate with this person because they have the keys in their head and they ain't going to tell us unless we want them to. So yes, Bitcoin is absolutely revolutionary for a lot of reasons. Okay. Let's read some chat. I really appreciate all of you guys tuning in. What do we do with all of this? I think the bottom is close for Bitcoin. I don't know for sure that it's in, but I think it's close. What do we do here? I think that what we need to do is to continue our proven process, which is the financial sovereignty way, which is our investment plans. We need to continue our wealth building journey by getting out of debt, living on a written plan called a budget, or an investment plan. We need to invest and save for the future. We need to be generous. We need to live below our means. We need to choose financial sovereignty. Those are the 6 laws of money. We continue doing that at all times. That does not change. I will repeat myself for the next 30 years on those things because it's the exact same thing over and over and over again. And the markets are important, and we should watch them. And we do get more insights on how we can make even more money than just investing in the market. But the core of building wealth is that. And what pains me is that so many in cryptocurrency have missed that. They think, oh, I just need to buy this coin. And they're in debt. A lot of it. They've got no budget. Unfortunate. They're not generous, so people don't like them. They got no friends, and money ain't going to buy you happiness. I can tell you that right now. Some of the happiest people I've ever met on planet Earth are homeless. You think I'm joking. I'm serious. Key to happiness is low expectations. And we've got to make sure, like I said, that we're saving and investing for the future. So we've got to continue doing that. We've got to choose to be financially sovereign. We followed the financial sovereignty way. We choose FinSoft. We cut expenses below income immediately. Immediately, we cut expenses below income. We get on a written plan. It's called a budget. Save a starter emergency fund. We do these things. Okay, please. Please, 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 please. Be careful. All right, let's read some chat, like I said, and then we will continue right along here. Ashkiro Moxie said, Press O'Neill, sugar, wheat, salt, spices are commodities. Salt and wheat is still very valuable. That's why food prices went up globally when the Ukraine war happened, because they supply most of the wheat. Yes, Ukraine was something like 15% of global wheat production, and they were the largest wheat producer for many nations in the Near East, such as Egypt and Syria, and one of the larger producers for Turkey. Yeah, so it's definitely Yemen. So absolutely, those commodities are very valuable. Short-term resistance on ADA, please, and support and resistance on the chart. Sure, absolutely. Let's take a look at Cardano here. So the good news about Cardano is that it has dropped all the way down to critical support architecture around 40 cents. The bad news about Cardano is that we have seen this strong downtrending level of resistance just oppressing the price of ADA for some time now. Back to the good news. The good news is we're going to see a breakout at some point very soon. Cardano literally cannot stay between these two lines for much longer than about a week. It will be forced to break either bullish or bearish. At this point, I think it's basically going to follow the market. When it gets to the point of breaking out, If the market's rallying, Cardano is probably going to break bullish. If the market's dropping, the Cardano is probably going to break to the downside. But the good news is that we do see a little bit of blue right here, indicating bullishness. So we shall stay tuned. The support right now on Cardano is between 40 and 42 cents. That is support architecture that was built over the last 2 years. And the actual resistance right now is sitting up here around 60 cents. And that comes in from a Fibonacci level, which is the 0.382 Fibonacci level, retraced from all-time high on our logarithmic chart. And it's also right here around 55 cents, which is just a little bit lower than that, which is based on this architecture right over here. As you can see, Cardano had built a head and shoulders pattern, and it played out beautifully. This is what I'm talking about with the inverse head and shoulders pattern on Bitcoin. Head and shoulders pattern, price target was 40 cents. That's exactly where we went. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on that. The short-term resistance would be about 52 cents. That was our local high that we set a couple of weeks ago. We're going to need to break that before we go anywhere fast. Very important stuff. All right. Or they can just take away your electronics. They sure can. They absolutely can, but they still can't get to the Bitcoin if it's in your head. India and Russia are top wheat exporter now. Yep. Last time ADA pumped a lot after Bitcoin was in halving. That's right. And so that's very, 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 very important to keep in mind. The halving took place. Cardano was at 5 cents. Yeah, for real. You want some 2 cents? No, 5 cents. No, I'm just kidding. The Cardano chart looked like this. Went absolutely haywire. When the halving occurred, within a year, Bitcoin would obviously rally about 600%. Within a year of the halving, Cardano would rally up to its all-time high, about 3,500%. Now, Cardano was at 5 cents back then. This time when we saw halving, Cardano was an order of magnitude more valuable at about 50 cents. I don't think that Cardano is going to rally up to, for example, $14 in the next year. I do think that Cardano could go through a very large rally in the next several months, but I still need to see more adoption. It may get caught up in the craze of the altcoin season when that comes, and that will come. But we're going to have to see Cardano prove itself. It has underperformed all of its contemporaries in the top 10. And that is not something that gives me a lot of confidence. Okay. When you say 27K, where are you getting that from? Is there a bear flag point down to 27K? What do you mean by 27K? Where's the what number is 27,000? I'm not sure what you mean there. I said 47K. I'm sorry if I said if I said 27K, I apologize. I think I said 47. 47 is the number. $47,000 is our local high that we set here in March of 2022. And the reason that it's significant is because it represents the peak of the first corrective wave in the bear market. As you can see, we went through a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corrective Elliott wave corrective movement. Bitcoin rallied up to $47,800, stopped out there, and then went into a crash. 47.8, therefore, was the top of the second wave. Well, the top of the fourth wave was 25,236, which is a critical level of support and resistance that we used. We originally used it as resistance. It was the top here in August of 2022. Then we used it as support for about 6 months, indicating that this top of the corrective wave was important. The top of the corrective wave over here was $47,800, which is why I think that there's a possibility that we could go all the way down to that level. And it's also just a couple of $1,000 below this 0.786 Fibonacci level, which also may end up being very, very important. So just keep those things in mind. The rally may not be coming just yet. It may take a little while for it to come back. Drian said, Jeb, you ignoring my question. Not ignoring your question. I did not see it. I don't... Yeah, Drian, I'm not sure. I don't see any question. This is the first chat I see in my chat log from you. Let's see if I can... Not sure what would have happened there. Yeah, I don't see another chat from you. Try typing it again. I'm sorry. Maybe it was something in the chat. Maybe you need to rephrase it so YouTube lets it through. Ashkiro said, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Yes, absolutely, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't already. I really appreciate the support. Gernmativ said, ADA, please, Jebski. Yeah, we've talked about ADA quite a bit. ADA was new and got them. Now it's just a larger MCAP with no hype behind it. Yeah, I am concerned that that's kind of what's happening there. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Guys, I do also want to let you know that today's stream is brought to you in part by Crypto.com. If you've not already signed up for Crypto.com, you absolutely should. And the reason is because user interface is one of the most important determining factors to whether or not you will continue to use an application. If you're trying to invest in cryptocurrency, you need to make it as seamless as possible. You've got to make it simple. You've got to make it comfortable. There was an individual, I won't say who, but there was an individual I know that we live in Florida, and they needed to get to Michigan quickly. It was about 1,500 miles. This individual thought, I'm going to ride my 2004 Kawasaki Ninja 250 all the way up there. I'll just sleep in a sleeping bag on the side of the road. And I told this individual, again, I won't say who, because it's a person that I love dearly. But I told them that is foolish. It's completely foolish. They were kind of learning how to ride they knew how to ride a motorcycle, but I learned before they did, so I was giving them some advice. And I gave them some free advice here, because their wife, absolutely amazing lady, she was like, look, God will protect you, but I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's a smart idea, but ultimately I'm not going to try and control you, right? But please don't. I told them, that's going to be very uncomfortable. They said, oh, I don't care about it being uncomfortable. I do uncomfortable stuff all the time. I said, no, you don't understand. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're riding a motorcycle. If you get too uncomfortable, again, it's not a Harley, it's a Ninja 250, it's a sport bike. If you get too uncomfortable, you're going to lose sensation in your arms, and you're going to drop that bike on the interstate and die. Please don't do that. It not being comfortable is just like, oh man, I don't have enough foot room on the airplane. No, you're going to get into an accident because it's uncomfortable. Similarly, in cryptocurrency, if you don't make it a comfortable experience for you to invest in the cryptocurrency market, you're probably not going to do it. Which is not as bad as crashing a motorcycle, but it's pretty bad if you stop investing in the space when you should have been investing in the space. The number one reason that people quit investing is because they didn't make it easy for themselves, which is why we brought on Crypto.com as a sponsor. Because they've got the absolute easiest method possible to buy cryptocurrency from your smartphone. Take you 5 minutes a week to do your dollar cost averaging. That's why we brought them on as a sponsor. And they've got recurring buys also, of course. I mean, obviously, everybody does. So scan the QR code, get started, or support the channel by going to the link in the description box down below. ADA over Bitcoin. Let's look at the ADA over BTC. And I'm going to say that I'm going to do this, and then we're going to continue moving here because we got to wrap it out. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is what concerns me. Somebody in chat said, can you look at the ADA over Bitcoin chart? We are scared. Why are we getting scared? Down 90%. Why are we scared? Is there too much invested in that space? Have we invested too much in projects that are not proven? Have we invested too much in projects that we do not reasonably expect will be worth more in 5 years? This is why I don't put much value in cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin and Ethereum. For years, I've had over 80% of our portfolio in Bitcoin and ETH for a reason. Because I reasonably expect that if something hits the fan, 5 years later, it'll be worth more than it is now, at least. Even Cardano's not in that boat. Even Solana's not in that boat. Make sure that the vast majority of your investment is in things that you reasonably expect will appreciate in value over the next 5 years. Not just because you think so, but because there's actually a reason that you think that. I'm so sorry if you're caught out. We call that the stupid tax. Please don't pay the stupid tax, guys. I've paid the stupid tax so many times in my life. I don't like the stupid tax, but that is the discipline that Lady Wisdom imposes upon us when we don't follow her. And it is, unfortunately, the way that we have to learn sometimes is by paying the stupid tax. All right. I do appreciate all of you tuning in. I hope you have enjoyed today's stream. We are going to wrap it out. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the stream with somebody that you think would find value in it. As I said, we are going to wrap it out. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.